Lemon cheesecake bars. We're going to start with a homemade crust. And it's a graham cracker crust. And I will go a little heavy on the crust. The recipe calls for 10 graham crackers. There happens to be 9 in this little sleeve, and Ann wasn't going to give me another one. It'll still work fine. You could cheat and buy the already crumbs, the ones that are already in the box as crumbs. That will work fine too. But we always have, I usually don't have a box of the crumbs, but we always have graham crackers around in the summer because we do a lot of s'mores at our house. So you can do this by hand, but this food processor makes it very, very quick and easy. So I'm just going to break them up a little bit and get them in the food processor. By the way, I have to thank everybody who came to our big night out earlier this week. It was spectacular. The food was amazing. Everybody was ready for a big night out. So met some fantastic people, saw some of the regulars that come to all of our big night outs, and it was great to see them. It was just a wonderful, wonderful evening. Gather Americana is the restaurant that put it on in Appleton. If you haven't been there, stop in for lunch or dinner. Nice folks. The food was great. So thank you, thank you. And guess what? We're planning another big night out at another area restaurant coming up in July. So keep watching the show, and we will announce the details of it hopefully next week. Okay, so I'm going to pulse up these graham crackers. Also going to melt some butter. We've got 1 stick of butter. Just want to make sure these grahams are nice and smooth. Nice and crumbly, I guess. There's always one that just doesn't want to cooperate, but I think we got her. Okay, let's get our melted butter in here. Now we're going to add actually the crumbs, brown sugar, a little bit of flour, and a pinch of salt. I think that's one of the reasons I completely am in love with cheesecake, because it's all about that graham cracker crust. Ooh. So in goes our melted butter, and we're just going to let the food processor do the work on this one. I always weigh whether it's worth it to get the food processor out or just do it by hand. In this cake, you can see how easy it makes it. So, oh yeah, almost forgot a step here. Now this is kind of optional, but when you're making bars, especially cheesecake bars, sometimes it's a pain to get them out of the pan and get nice cuts on them. So a great tip or trick is I'm lining, this recipe calls for an 8x8 pan. If you doubled this recipe and you've got a bigger crowd to serve, you can do the same recipe in a 9x13 pan. So if you've got lots of people coming over for a cookout, just double the recipe and do it in a 9x13. Line it with foil so that the foil goes over the edges, and then spray that foil really well with cooking spray. We happen to love the baking spray that's newer on the market. It's actually, for baking, it works even better. It flours and coats the pan. Okay, so now we're going to get the graham mixture in here. Oh my gosh, I'm dreaming of the cottage and reading a book and firing up that grill this weekend. I just cannot wait. Speaking of books, have you picked up our latest book club book? This is the perfect time, summer, to get a great beach read. I've picked a great book that my mother-in-law she's an avid reader, and I always ask for her suggestions on the books that I pick. And anyway, this one is a winner. If you like the book Secret Life of Bees, which is one of my favorites, great book, and also they turned it into a wonderful movie by Sue Monk Kidd, I think you're really going to enjoy this book. It's by the same author, and she's a fantastic author. And the book is called The Invention of Wings. So go get the book or get it on your Nook or your Kindle. And you've got plenty of time. Our book club meeting isn't until July. And you can go online to get the details on that. So I'm just patting my crust down on the bottom. And I'm going to get it into the oven and just pre-bake it for about 10 minutes. And I go heavy on the crust, as you can see. If I'm making the cheesecake anyway, Why not go a little heavy on that crust? Sometimes it's just best to use your hands to really pat it in there. Okay, crust done. Give those hands a wash, and we're going to get to work on this lemony cheesecake filling. All right, the recipe starts with 2 blocks of softened cream cheese. When you're making cheesecake, it's important to have that more at room temperature, so pull that cream cheese out a little bit ahead of time. In a pinch, you can throw it in the microwave, but out of the wrapper, of course, out of that foil wrapper, but you really need to just make sure you don't overdo it, so just a few seconds in the microwave to soften it. Okay, so I'm going to start mixing the cream cheese and 2/3 of a cup of sugar and getting that nice and smooth. So my daughter Ireland is 14 and soon to be 15. She's got a big birthday coming up. But she is at the age where she can drive a boat if she takes a boater safety class. So she and Bob, a few weeks ago, went down to Appleton for 3 different nights, and he took it with her, even though he's been driving a boat for years, but it was a father-daughter thing, and took boater safety, so she will be able to drive a boat this summer, which I'm a little nervous about. I'm like a nervous ninny in the boat. I'm like, slow down, I don't like to go real fast. So I don't know if we'll have the boat in the water this weekend, although the weather looks pretty nice, but pretty excited about that. Not sure if I'm excited that she's going to be able to drive the boat, but that's a whole nother story. But this was the funny thing. So Bob tells me after you have to, it's a 3-night course, and at the end of it, they have to take a test. And he's like, oh, I'm so glad that she didn't get, she got more wrong than me. I mean, they both passed with flying colors, but he said, I never would have heard the end of it if he would have gotten more wrong. So I think he got 1 wrong and she got 2 wrong. But anyway, they passed, and it's all good. Okay, in went a little sour cream, some vanilla, about a teaspoon of vanilla, and we're going to do the zest of 2 lemons and a 1/4 of a cup of fresh lemon juice. Really want to taste that lemon flavor. Sometimes in cheesecake, there's just a little lemon juice or zest in there as just a background flavor. For this is a lemon cheesecake bar, so I want to taste that lemon. And the zest is going to help with that. And it also looks cool to see the little pieces of lemon in there. If you're going to be juicing the lemon anyway, you might as well zest it to punch up that flavor. And you're going to hit the Fox River Trail this weekend, get that bike out. Maybe. She got a new purple bike last year. It's so cute. We got to take a picture of it. It's purple and yellow with daisies. So cute. It's one of those cruisers. Okay. So now we're going to do some fresh lemon juice. If you're not going to use the fresh, make sure and use the really good quality lemon juice. And I just see a couple of seeds there. Catch those seeds. One little seed decided he was going to stay. Oh, no, you're not. You're not going to ruin my cheesecake. Get out of there, you. What did I do with my lemon? Okay. All right. Oh, that is a great idea. Abby just said that we got a tip from one of our viewers. I've taken your tip to juice it over your hand, but juice it over the grater, and that will catch the seeds. Love it. You guys rock. I love getting your recipes and tips. Okay, so that I can tell that's a good 1/4 cup. Although one little guy still managed to sneak his way in. It's going to be one of those mornings, is it now? Okay. So I'm going to get this mixing, and then we're going to add our eggs. Ooh, it can really smell the lemon. And that means you're going to be able to taste it in this cheesecake. 2 eggs. You're supposed to add them 1 egg at a time, but we're going to move this along here. Got to talking so much, so excited about the weekend. And this is our filling. Most important thing with cheesecake, have that cream cheese at room temperature and beat the heck out of it so that you don't have any of those lumps or bumps in that cream cheese. If you have them at the beginning, you're going to have them at the end. So take the time, and that cream cheese actually beat up very, very quickly. Sometimes it's going to take several minutes to get it out of there. So if you have one of those KitchenAid mixers, that helps with that. Okay, here's our crust, which we've just pre-baked a little bit. At home, let that cool just a little bit before we put that filling on. Filling goes on top, and then we bake again for another, what was it? Half hour or so. And then after you've baked it, you want to let it cool a little bit and then get it into the refrigerator. So you get the idea. I want to show you what it looks like, and then in a little bit we'll cut it into bars. Decorate the top with a little bit of lemon. This is fantastic, real easy to get out of the pan too because we foil lined the pan. So it's going to come right out and we can cut it into bars. So there you go, lemon cheesecake bars. We'll finish up this recipe and do some more cheesy recipes coming up, including a road trip to a local goat cheese farm that's getting rave reviews. So don't go anywhere, we'll be back.